Hey everyone, it's Blair here at Time Trades. Hope you're doing great this weekend. I've got a really important video and thoughts to share. Things are coming together with a confluence of a bunch of negative aspects coming up in the next 7 to 10 days. So I want to share my thoughts on that so that we can prepare for this. So first, let's start off in TradingView. I want to share a little bit about what's happened in the recent past here. You're looking at the NASDAQ 100 futures on a 30-minute chart, and we've got the time trades indicator turned on here. I'll just show you the settings. We're looking at lunar aspects, we're looking at Gann waves, cheat code lines, magic levels, and moon void, of course. So what did we see here in the last week or so? Okay, so most interestingly, moon entered Capricorn April 21. There was actually a pretty strong overnight move in the futures. But then as this purple line hit here, this is the cheat code line. This is probably one of the most powerful and important discoveries I've made on my journey of timing research here. So pay close attention to that. I'm going to be using that a lot more in my personal trading and also talking about it a lot in my videos. But anyways, this is a cycle that recurs roughly every 2 weeks. And the common pattern that I see with these cheat code days, like this isn't, even though this isn't, this is a 30-minute chart, this isn't a 30-minute precision timing cycle. You should kind of put some error bars around this or some margin of, I don't know, I'd say plus or minus 12 hours on either side of this purple. Okay, so even though it shows up as a very precise 30-minute line here, mentally wrap some error bars around this, okay? But the common behavior that we see around these cheat code lines is a pump and then a dump. And that's exactly what we saw April 21st. And this was also combined with the blue line here. The blue line at the bottom, this is part of the Gann waves, okay? So a blue line indicates the minimum of the Gann wave cycle, okay? So we got a cheat code, we got a Gann wave, we got the moon in Capricorn. It's like a triple whammy of bearishness hitting all at once, and you can see what happened for the next few days after that. Eventually, price regained its footing a little bit with the moon in Aries. And then it kind of treaded water sideways for a bit until the next cheat code cycle. And this is why I say you got to wrap, sort of mentally some 12-hour error bars around this cheat code cycle. Just because it's not a high precision and high accuracy thing that happens at, exactly this 30 minutes. So again, we saw an incredible pump. This was driven by the FOMC announcement of doing exactly what they said they were going to do, and everyone, was relieved and sold off their hedges into one of those typical sharp bear market rallies. And then sanity returned and the dump ensued. And I anticipated this because of the cheat code happening as well. And then the yellow line here is the peak of the Gann wave cycle. So we've gone from a low to a peak, and they're kind of aligned with the cheat codes as well. So that may be amplifying the extent of the moves here, because certainly volatility has been very high. Okay, so that's what we've seen in the recent past on stocks. So what's coming up in the future here? And this is kind of where I want to share things, my perspective, because we've got another series of events coming up. And all right, so as we look ahead, what's happening this coming week and early next week? So we've got moon in Leo, we've got moon in Virgo, we've got moon in Libra. These are all sort of like average to slightly above average price action. So that means, you know, we can expect some firming of price here. Although I think on Monday morning, we're going to see some follow through of this bearish move. I wouldn't be surprised to see price gap down or move down to some magic level support. So price remains well above magic levels right now in both the futures and in the cash, the QQQ cash. So whenever price is, when price is hanging out here in this no man's land between magic levels, what I found is it will tend to gravitate to the closest one, which is the lower one down here. And I think the extent of the bear market is becoming much more broadly known, and the last few Mondays have been negative. So wouldn't be surprised to see price come down Monday before we see a little bit of firming in the week. But looking ahead to early next week, specifically Monday the 16th, this is where the fun kind of resumes again. And we've got a cheat code line. We actually, what's not shown here is we have an eclipse happening over the weekend. So there's a lunar eclipse. And now I don't put a lot of weight on the eclipses per se, the exact date of the eclipse and the exact event of the eclipse. I know astrologers do tend to talk a lot about eclipses. I don't focus on the day of the eclipse too much, but Time Trades does have eclipses modeled in it. Specifically, we identify the location of the eclipse, and that becomes kind of a hotspot over the next months or years, depending on if it's a lunar or a solar eclipse. So that's part of the model. But we do have another cheat code day, Purple Line Day happening. It's actually happening on the Sunday. So if you're like me and don't trade futures, then what do you do for the Friday before? I've been thinking about this and thinking that you know, we still get a delayed reaction in terms of maybe a pump and then a dump on the cheat code. But also looking ahead, we've got Moon going into Capricorn on the 18th, on Wednesday the 18th. Okay, and then that's followed by another Gann wave minimum. All right, so the behavior, just going by the recent past, looking at the behavior of what's happened around cheat code days, what's happened around Moon and Capricorn, it doesn't really bode all that well for price the week of the 16th. Okay. So for me, this trading this week is really not about, it's about not screwing up. It's about setting up for the following week when I think odds are that we are going to have a bigger move in price. And I believe that bigger move is going to be down. There is one significant positive aspect happening on the 11th. We've got Jupiter moving into Aries from Pisces. So Jupiter is changing signs. That can have some positive influence. That will be a longer term cycle though. But in the recent history, it really looks to me like the Moon's calling the shots. You can see here how the Moon moving into Capricorn, and then the cheat code day, and then the Gann wave minimum really took price down significantly from April 21st to the 24th. And I'm looking forward to a replay of that starting around over here on May 16th. It could even get started a little earlier with the cheat code day happening on Sunday. So that would show up on Monday's cash trade. Okay, so that's all just from visually inspecting the Time Trades indicator in TradingView. What does the machine learning model say? Does it confirm that or not? And when we look at the machine learning forecast, we can see for the spiders, there's a cluster of 2 standard deviation down days. Now, this is significant because it's very rare to see a cluster of 2 standard deviation down days like this on an index like spiders. Because remember, this is 500 stocks all mushed together. So it's rare that we get some kind of confluence like this. And this is starting on May 18th with Moon entering Capricorn, as we just saw, and then it's actually continuing for a few days after that into the following week, May 24th. Okay, so very nice agreement there between our lunar observations on a 30-minute chart and the daily forecast coming from the machine learning. So let's see what else is happening with the other indexes. On the Qs, we've got a pivot low on May 9th. That's Monday. Okay, so this is another reason why I believe we could see or are likely to see a continuation of this move down and finding support at the next lowest magic level, which below 310 is actually quite low, 285. So I think we may stop either halfway between 310 and 285 or just flush all the way down there Monday in a mini panic. So that's the forecast for Monday, this coming Monday, and then the following Monday, May 16th. Remember, this is the Monday after the cheat code day, and it's the Monday after the eclipse. So we've got a 77% probability of a 1 standard deviation move down. And then we've got some other probabilities here coming after the moon in Capricorn on May 19th and May 23rd. So these are somewhat isolated, but taken in total, it's painting a very bearish picture. IWM is even more bearish than spiders or the Qs. We've got a pretty consistent cluster here of 1 and 2 standard deviation moves down, starting on the 11th and then peaking on the 18th here with this 25% probability of a 2 standard deviation move down. So yeah, it looks like this wave down in prices is possibly going to reach a climax near the end of May. We'll see what happens to price over the next couple of weeks, but just judging by the recent behavior and the coming probabilities that we see in time trades, it's a pretty bearish picture. It's one where you don't want to be like me and overtrade things and get fancy. You just want to keep it simple, increase cash, and maybe take some bigger than average shots on the downside. This is the kind of market where doing some bold moves with a small amount of money, like deep out of the money puts, could pay off exponentially. All right, so that is my take on stocks. I just want to cover crypto quickly before I sign off for the week. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. One of the things that's been bugging me about the Bitcoin and Ethereum forecast is just the lack of forecast. I've got some ideas on what's going on here. I'm going to be doing some experiments to try to see if we can address this. But what we do see is actually confirming what we're seeing in stocks. And that is that, obviously we're in a downtrend. We're cruising through magic levels like, they don't exist. The famous 39.6 level is broken free, and we're probing lower lows all the time. So obviously the trend is down, but when may it change to go up? Well, if you look over here, we're starting to see some signs of life starting May 18th. So this is with the moon entering in Capricorn, which is also where we see stocks moving down. So I'm wondering aloud if maybe we see a flush down coming down to set up this little move up here, a little reaction move up. in Bitcoin. So this sort of these sort of sharp moves up, they tend to happen after sharp moves down. And I know that's not shown here on the forecast. There's nothing in terms of sharp moves down. But when I've seen examples like this in the past, often price will come down to just before we see these 2 standard deviation moves up. So price will tend to come down until like a day or two before here, or even the day of, and then the forecast will start to turn things around. So that's something to be aware of here. I have no position in crypto at the moment, but it looks like there may be a bit of a bounce here starting around the 18th. Now, what we don't know is at what price this bounce will happen. My usual answer to questions like that is, well, find a magic level, because this tends to be where prices wick down and find support. And you can just see all the examples here of where prices bounced off a magic level, either as support or as resistance. They're very powerful levels to have on your chart. So it could be 34.9, it could be 32,000, it could be 30,600. I don't know. This is where you need to just focus in on price and play it level to level. Ethereum isn't all that much different from Bitcoin. We still see, you know, a little bit of bullish pop, this time peaking May 16th, right after the eclipse on that Monday. And we've got some very small probabilities of up days over here. In general, when I see single-digit probabilities, I tend to ignore them. I don't like to trade probabilities that low. But you know, when it comes to 2 standard deviations, when I see something like a 20 or 30% probability like this one on May 16th, that starts to get my attention. So Ethereum is starting to show signs of life as well. And again, I'm going to be doing some research to figure out different ways of modeling the data, do some experiments on data engineering so that we can get a little bit more activity in these forecasts going forward. Okay, so that's it for me. I hope everyone's well and having a great weekend. I'm going to be watching the Miami Formula One race tomorrow. So hope you're having a great weekend, and we will catch you